scientists opened a 4,000-year-old Egyptian tomb, and everything changed. A mummy that was not human led researchers to the location of an entire kingdom lost to history. A strange skeleton with a perfectly square-shaped skull made many people believe it was an extraterrestrial being. Smoke-preserved mummies from 12,000 years ago in Southeast Asia seemed ordinary at first, but they revealed a mysterious ritual that had never been fully documented. And most astonishing of all, a tomb sealed for 4,000 years in Egypt has just rewritten human history in a way no one ever expected. Have you ever wondered, is the history we know today truly complete? Or are there still ancient civilizations, forgotten rituals, and secrets that have never been fully uncovered? Hello, and welcome to Ancient History, the channel where we follow the trail of the most shocking archaeological discoveries in the world. From ancient tombs sealed for thousands of years in Egypt, to mysterious mummies found in Mexico, to ghost ships loaded with treasure resting deep beneath the waters off the coast of Spain, all of them are slowly revealing pieces of the truth that history once hid away. And what makes it even more fascinating is that the deeper researchers dig into these ancient ruins, the more they realize something terrifying. Some secrets of the past remain far beyond the understanding of modern humanity today. In today's video, we're going to dive deep into each of these discoveries and bring the dark mysteries hidden in the shadows into the light. So, are you ready to explore with me? If you are, then let's begin right now. 500-year-old mummy of a woman discovered in South Korea. Recently, researchers made a shocking discovery. The 500-year-old mummy of a woman believed to be the wife of a high-ranking official during the Joseon dynasty. The story began when a team of scholars and researchers from the Seokyung Institute of Cultural Heritage unearthed the mummy at a construction site in an industrial zone in Osan, about 34 miles south of Seoul. The discovery stunned not only scientists, but also the general public. Found in a wooden coffin, the woman stood approximately 5 feet 1 inch tall and was remarkably well preserved, thanks to the unique burial rituals practiced during the Joseon era. According to experts, the coffin was more than just a resting place. It served as a gateway to secrets from a glorious historical period. Researchers believe, based on her clothing and hairstyle, that the woman may have been a noble figure who lived in the 16th century under the Joseon dynasty. This theory is supported by engravings on the coffin that suggest the rank and title of her husband within the government. While most mummies are buried with valuable items, the handbag found with her seemed to be the most important possession, highlighting the special care and attention given to her burial. The mummy amazed researchers not only because of its state of preservation, but also due to the personal items found alongside it, including a ceramic jar, a comb, and hairpins, all considered precious during that time. Another remarkable aspect was the Joseon-era clothing found inside the coffin, giving scholars a deeper understanding of women's fashion and lifestyles of that period. Kim Woo-rim, head of the excavation team, stated that this is one of the rare finds where a mummy is preserved in near-perfect condition. This allowed the research team to conduct in-depth analyses on life during the early days of the Joseon dynasty. Preliminary findings also suggest that the woman may have died from a chronic illness, as indicated by her thin face and frail body. One notable characteristic of Korean mummies is that their internal organs are left intact, unlike Egyptian mummification practices where the organs were typically removed. Preserving the organs not only helps prevent decomposition, but also provides a unique opportunity for scientists to study ancient diseases, dietary habits, and treatment methods. John Sung-ho, a researcher at the Seokyung Institute, explained that this discovery aligns with the typical burial customs of the Joseon dynasty. Nobles were often interred in airtight coffins covered with plaster, creating a vacuum-like environment that preserved the body. As a result, these mummies offer invaluable opportunities to reconstruct the lives and cultures of people during a dynamic historical era. With each such discovery, we are not only awed by the wonders of the past, but reminded that every historical fragment has the potential to tell the story of a civilization, a dynasty, and the individuals who lived through it. 7 strange mummies found inside caves in Saudi Arabia. In a barren desert region near the city of Arar in northern Saudi Arabia, scientists unexpectedly discovered something that left the entire research community stunned. 7 mummies hidden deep inside dark caves, and these mummies were not human. There were no linen wrappings, no ancient burial rituals, yet they had been preserved in a bizarre way that closely resembled Egyptian mummies. The study was conducted by an international team of scientists from Saudi Arabia, Austria, Australia, and Poland, led by researcher Ahmed Al-Boug, Director of Terrestrial Conservation at the National Center for Wildlife Conservation in Riyadh. The findings, published in the scientific journal Communications Earth and Environment, quickly captured worldwide attention. Inside the cave system near Arar, researchers discovered 7 strange mummified remains along with the bones of 54 other cheetahs, Acinonyx jubatus. Most shocking of all, some of the specimens were dated to more than 4,200 years ago, meaning they existed during a time when many ancient civilizations around the world had not yet fully developed. These mummies were not created by humans. No human hands intervened, and no ancient preservation techniques were used. Everything was entirely the work of nature. According to the researchers, the secret lies within the extreme desert environment itself. When a cheetah died in this arid region, its body rapidly lost moisture before bacteria could fully decompose it. In addition, many of the carcasses became buried beneath fine sand, completely cutting off oxygen, a critical factor in preventing biological decomposition. The combination of extreme heat, extremely low humidity, and sealed cave environments created a rare form of natural preservation. In a way, it was like a race against time, where death arrived, but decomposition became frozen during its earliest stages. Among the 7 mummies discovered, scientists identified differences in origin. The oldest specimens belonged to a West African cheetah lineage, while the younger samples were linked to Asian cheetahs. This suggests that the Arabian Peninsula was once home to a far more diverse cheetah population than it is today. Sadly, cheetahs have now disappeared from most of their historical range. According to statistics, the species has gone extinct in approximately 91% of the areas where it once existed, and cheetahs have not been seen on the Arabian Peninsula for several decades. As you can see, these seemingly bizarre mummies are not merely scientific artifacts. They are among the last remaining pieces of evidence of an animal world that once thrived but is gradually disappearing with time. Not only that, but this discovery also helps scientists better understand how desert environments can naturally preserve animal remains. A 33 feet long giant human skeleton was excavated in Romania in 1976. For centuries, stories about giants have fascinated humanity. Many people believe they are just myths, legends, or products of imagination. But what if one day someone told you that a human skeleton measuring up to 33 feet long was actually excavated in Romania? Sounds unbelievable, right? At first, I didn't believe it either. But this is a true story that once puzzled the archaeological community back in 1976. It all began with an archaeological excavation in the Carpathian Mountains, a region steeped in ancient legends. While digging deep into the earth, researchers discovered something no one expected. Multiple human skeletons far exceeding normal biological size standards, including at least one skeleton measuring 33 feet long. You heard that right, 33 feet, roughly the length of a large city bus. Not only was it exceptionally long, but this skeleton also had enormous leg bones, an unusually elongated skull, and an extremely sturdy bone structure. These characteristics left experts unable to apply any modern anatomical models to explain it. When this information leaked, it immediately sparked a frenzy among archaeologists and enthusiasts of ancient mysteries. Many began to ask, could this be the first evidence proving the existence of giants, a species mentioned in the Bible, Greek mythology, and folklore worldwide? However, things were not so simple. Although the initial reports were fairly detailed, no official studies were ever widely published, nor did they appear in reputable scientific journals. This led to heated debates. Many skeptics argued that this could be a misunderstanding, an exaggeration, or worse, a hoax. They reasoned that physiologically, a human reaching 33 feet tall is almost impossible, as the body would not be able to support its own weight or withstand gravity. Moreover, the preservation and handling of such large remains raised numerous practical questions. On the other hand, a significant group of people still believe the truth is being hidden. They point out that many ancient legends worldwide mention giants, from the mythical Hyperborea in the north to the giant gods of Hindu mythology and the Nephilim giants in the Old Testament. They hypothesize that the skeleton found in Romania could be the remnants of a lost civilization, possibly Hyperborea, a mythical land described as home to highly intelligent and gigantic beings. To support this belief, they also cite many specific discoveries. Not only in Romania, but reports of giant human skeletons have also surfaced in various places, from the United States and South America to Asia and Africa. So, are these just random coincidences? Or is there a part of history modern humanity is not allowed to know? And why do discoveries like these always mysteriously disappear from mainstream media? Could there be a silent effort to maintain the official historical narrative, keeping strange pieces from disrupting the picture? These are tough questions. Therefore, if we want to uncover the truth behind these giant skeletons, scientists need larger-scale investigations using modern dating techniques, DNA analysis, and especially interdisciplinary collaboration, from archaeology and anthropology to genetics. Jotunheim, the wild land of the Nordic giants and the mystery of Mimir's well. In Norse mythology, the land of Jotunheim is an essential part of the stories about giants, powerful and mysterious creatures. Jotunheim, also known as the Land of the Giants, is located near Asgard, the home of the great gods, and Midgard, the homeland of humans. It is a rugged, remote land filled with dense forests and freezing mountain ranges. Humans cannot easily set foot there, and the creatures that inhabit Jotunheim are strange beings, quite different from humans. The giants living here survive by hunting, fishing in the icy rivers and lakes, or searching for wild creatures deep within the forests. They are described as beings with boundless strength, living by their own rules, unlike the gods in Asgard or humans in Midgard. The adventures between the gods and the giants have created many mysterious stories in Norse mythology. One of the most famous figures from Jotunheim is Loki, the trickster and clever god. Loki was adopted by Odin and brought to Asgard to live, despite having giant blood. With his cunning and shape-shifting abilities, Loki plays an important role in many Norse myths. Although a god, Loki always had a complex relationship with the giants and the events occurring in Jotunheim. In Norse mythology, Jotunheim is not only the home of the giants, but also a land full of mysteries with mystical elements. One of the most notable stories related to this land is that of Mimir's well. This well lies beneath the roots of one of the great ancient trees of Yggdrasil, the cosmic tree in Norse mythology. Mimir's well is a sacred place for the giants, believed to contain eternal wisdom. Many believe that Mimir, a giant renowned for his wisdom, gained extraordinary knowledge by drinking from this well. One of the most famous tales about Mimir's well is the encounter between Odin and Mimir. Odin, the powerful god of Asgard, yearned for infinite wisdom to rule better and understand the world more fully. Therefore, he traveled to Mimir's well and requested to drink from its sacred waters. However, Mimir set a special condition. Odin must sacrifice one of his eyes to gain wisdom. With an intense desire for knowledge, Odin agreed and sacrificed one of his eyes to Mimir. From then on, Odin became wiser, with a profound treasure of knowledge, though he was left with only one eye. This story not only reflects the wisdom and sacrifice of Odin, but also highlights the importance of Mimir's well in Norse mythology. 3 ancient tombs sealed with iron nails to stop the dead from returning beneath the soil of Rome. My friends, what do you think ancient people feared most after death? Was it a soul unable to move on, or the terrifying idea that the dead themselves could return from the underworld? For the ancient Romans, they truly believed it could happen. They believed the dead might come back from beyond the grave seeking revenge. And evidence of that belief was uncovered recently when workers preparing to build a new student dormitory in southern Rome unexpectedly discovered an entire ancient cemetery buried for nearly 2,000 years. But the most chilling part was not the skeletons or the ancient graves themselves. It was the object placed directly on the chests of the dead: 3 iron nails. According to ancient Roman beliefs, these nails were used to prevent the dead from rising again. The story began along Via Ostiense, near the famous Basilica of St. Paul, outside the walls in Rome, the capital of Italy. Before construction on the new dormitory could begin, Italy's Ministry of Culture ordered a preventive archaeological excavation to examine the land beneath the site. No one could have imagined that this survey would uncover an entirely unknown section of the ancient Ostiense necropolis, a cemetery archaeologists had already been studying since 1919. During the excavation, archaeologists discovered 3 ancient tombs dating back approximately 1,800 years. Inside each tomb was a skeleton buried in an incredibly strange manner. Resting silently on the chest of each deceased person was an iron nail that had remained untouched for nearly 2 millennia. Just think about that for a moment. Nearly 2,000 years ago, what were people so terrified of that they felt the need to nail down the dead before burying them? According to archaeologist Daletta Menghinello from the Special Superintendency of Rome under Italy's Ministry of Culture, this was actually part of a burial ritual practiced during ancient Roman times and continued through later periods as well. People believed iron nails had the power to lock the soul of the deceased in place, preventing them from returning as vampires or other dangerous supernatural entities. Sounds like mythology, doesn't it? But the frightening reality is that these rituals truly existed in history. This discovery shows that the ancient Romans did not simply believe in the afterlife. They also carried a deep fear that the dead could return to haunt the living. And perhaps because of that fear, they created all kinds of rituals meant to restrain the body before burial. But these 3 graves containing such strange objects were only a small part of the shocking discoveries beneath the ground of Rome. According to Heritage Daily, archaeologists went on to uncover many more tombs from the same era as well as from later periods. Several of the graves were exceptionally well preserved, providing experts with valuable clues about ancient Roman burial customs and spiritual beliefs. Not long afterward, the research team also excavated a cluster of 5 large funerary structures dating back to the Roman Empire, located about 3 feet beneath the surface. These structures were built in quadrangular shapes with ancient vaulted roofs and arranged along a northeast to southwest axis, resembling a carefully planned cemetery complex from thousands of years ago. In front of these larger structures stood 2 smaller funerary buildings, along with another similar structure built perpendicular to them, forming a burial complex far larger than researchers had originally imagined. Isn't it incredible? A place where students today may one day study, live, and spend their daily lives was once a literal city of the dead during ancient Roman times. But the mystery does not end there. Near the burial area, researchers also discovered a semicircular hall and a large brick-built chamber containing clear traces of ancient mosaic flooring. To this day, the true purpose of these structures remains unknown. They may once have served as locations for funeral ceremonies, religious gatherings, or spiritual rituals connected to the Roman dead. And the deeper archaeologists excavated, the more they realized the astonishing scale of the ancient Ostiense cemetery. The 15-inch giant finger in Egypt. It sounds like a story straight out of a sci-fi movie, but the truth is that in 1988, a strange discovery in Egypt left both archaeologists and mystery enthusiasts stunned. A human finger, but not an ordinary one. A giant finger measuring 15 inches long was found inside an ancient tomb. Creepy, right? So what's the story behind it? Did giants really exist? Or is this just a hoax? Here's what happened. A man who claimed to be an artifact hunter in Egypt released a photo showing an unusually large finger. What's notable is that he insisted this finger was taken from a previously undisclosed ancient tomb. But when asked exactly where this tomb was located, he refused to reveal any details. This mystery led many at the time to be skeptical. Many suspected it was just a publicity stunt or worse, a forgery. However, things took a serious turn when the giant finger was subjected to an X-ray examination. The results shocked everyone. It was a real finger with clear bone structure, not a model or fake prop. So this was no longer a joke. But whose finger was it? Scientists began serious research. Based on human body proportions, they estimated that if this 15-inch finger was genuine, its owner would have stood about 16 feet tall and weighed between 1,300 and 1,700 pounds. That sounds like something straight out of the giant myths we often read in fairy tales and ancient legends, doesn't it? In fact, many ancient civilizations, from Greece and Rome to indigenous tribes in the Americas, have stories about giants living alongside humans. These giants were often described as large, muscular, powerful beings who played special roles in their myths. Yet until this finger appeared, there was never any scientific evidence to confirm their existence.